You can make me the host. Yeah. Ready, Lalitji?
Yeah,
Are
ready.
we ready? You can share the link on the YouTube, on the
Yeah,
on the official page. Okay.
sure.
So yeah. So YouTube हो रहा है ना?
Yes,
Okay.
we are live on YouTube.
Okay. Perfect. So thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, Lalitji. Good evening, everyone. And here we are again on the platform of MetKoto with another round of a wonderful session. And this is the first launch of MetKoto's family sessions, and that is connected with education. MetKoto is about women who are breaking the barriers, who are, as leaders, creating changes across the globe, not only in education, but in all aspects of their life. So today we have Gloria ma'am, and I will introduce her to be a part of this today's wonderful session, which I think I will introduce later on what the session about is today. So I will introduce Gloria ma'am on this wonderful platform of MetKoto, empowering women across the globe, not only as change makers, but as idols, role models in their real sense. So Gloria ma'am, over to you to introduce about yourself for 2 minutes, and then we will carry forward the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Gloria Ifeanyi Ayogo. I'm from Nigeria and I'm an educator. I'm the founder and CEO of A Walk Through Education and Kidney Press Law. I've been in this teaching profession for about 20 years now, and I'm happy to be here with you all today. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I hope we are going to impact lives through the session. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful, ma'am. So today's topic is about interpersonal relationships and education, which I think is a topic which has been neglected most of the time. How families as a unit can create healthy next generation. So since you and me both are into education and we are experiencing a lot of children overcoming problems, not only in their mental health, but in the academic also. So according to you, I think let me introduce about the topic first, interpersonal relationships and education. So family and interpersonal relationships are an essential aspect of human life. These relationships provide people with a sense of belonging, emotional support, and fulfillment. Understanding the dynamics of these relationships can help individuals form stronger bonds, not only with their family members, but also outside in the society, and foster healthy relationships. So, according to you, ma'am, interpersonal relationships, as we talk about, how do you connect these interpersonal relationships and education, and what effect does it have on the child? Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a very wonderful topic. Interpersonal relationship between teachers, students, and their parents. There is this kind of bond this creates in the education sector. In a school where there is interpersonal relationship between the teachers and the students and the parents as well, there is this kind of feeling that the students have. They have the sense of belonging. They have that peace of mind that they are at home even when they're in school. They feel at peace. They bring out the best in them. So, but when a child is not accepted, if there is nothing like this interpersonal relationship between the teacher and the student, you see that the child becomes scared of going to school. The child becomes nervous whenever he's learning. But when there is that relationship, child feels at home. This is just home outside the home. The child feels as if he's at home with the parent even when in school. So this interpersonal relationship is very important because it bridges that gap between home and school. The child is at home even when it is in school. So that is it. I hope that answered your question.
Wonderful, ma'am. So, according to me, when we talk about interpersonal relationships, what do you think are the factors that affect the academic achievements of the children if these relationships are not in cordial and in sync with the characteristic traits of the child?
The factors that affect this interpersonal relationship is lack of lack of relation, lack of peace. Because when the teacher is not at peace within himself, there is no how you can give what you don't have. So this is one major thing that affects this relationship. The teacher is not happy. Of course, it's going to affect the student. It's going to affect the classroom. So that is the major thing. Secondly, when there is problem from home, if there is a challenge from home, the child brings in the challenge from home, and the teacher is unable to realize or recognize that particular issue. This child becomes moody all through the day. It bridges the gap. The child won't be able to relate in any whatever it is that the child is learning that particular day. And lastly, the third thing I'm going to talk about is bringing challenges from home. When parents are not able to relate with the teachers, you leave all the problems, you leave everything for the teachers. There is this mutual relationship that parents should build with their teachers. There's this kind of communication. You relate with your with your teachers, with your children's teacher. Ask them questions. What is happening in my child's life? What happened today? Not a situation whereby your child comes to school or goes to school, come back maybe feeling very sad. You take it up upon the trying to find out what happened. What do you need to do? Call up the teacher, find out. Hello, teacher, how was your day? You have to be kind to them, because if you are kind to them, you are handing over your child to a particular teacher who is not part of your family. You should relate well with them so that they will take care of your child, because it's just like another home. If you look at this, is that if students during the school year, as when school is on session, students spend more days in school than they spend at home. They spend more hours in school than at home. So a situation whereby you are not happy about what is going on, don't even try to find out what is happening between your child and your child's teacher. And when your child comes home with maybe a challenge, or maybe because some children can cook up things, they just come home, cook up some issues. And my teacher did this, my teacher did that, and there is no reason. When a parent, maybe you walk straight to your teacher, to your parent, to your child, and challenge that teacher. I have a scenario. I heard about the school whereby the teachers spanked the child. This is because the child did a very naughty thing, and she needed to be corrected. Okay, you don't need to correct in a harsh way. She corrected this child in a very mild way. Don't do this next time. If you do this, I'm going to flog you. She just cautioned the child, and the child cried home all through the way. And when the parents heard about it, the next day, the parents came to school to fight the teacher without even asking what happened. Why did this happen? Why did you scold my child? Why did you shout at my child? She just decided to fight the teacher. What are we trying? What is that kind of parent trying to create? It's trying to bridge that. It's trying to create a barrier between the teacher and that child, because the love between the two of them is already diminished. There is no two ways about it. There is no how you mistreat a teacher and you at the same time you want the teacher to love your child. It's not possible. Teachers are also humans. Do you understand? And at the same time, teachers that bring in problems from home. Maybe you have challenges, maybe marital problem, you have financial problem, and you now take it over to the children, shout at them because you are moody or you are this. You don't take out things upon the children. This is one major thing that will just make the child withdraw. The child becomes withdrawn, and the child won't be able to participate because he feels that, oh, my teacher doesn't like me. My teacher doesn't like me. Of course, children need to be pampered. They need to be pampered. You are a teacher, yes. We are human beings, and we have emotions as well. But you have to keep that emotion aside and focus on why you are in school. What happens to coming to school and telling your child, oh, hello, student, today something happens to your teacher, And I think I'm not in a very good mood, but we are going to manage. So with this, you've hinted the child that I'm having some emotional issues. Please bear with me. And you'll find out that the children will, in fact, they will in turn take care of you. They say, no, don't disturb her. You know, she's not feeling too well. Let's see what we can do. Teacher, how are you feeling now? What do you want me to do to you? What do you want me to do for you? How can I help you? Because you have indirectly shared your challenges with them. We are human beings. Yes. Share with them. Tell them, I am not very okay today. You might not just hit the nail on the head or the hammer on the nail, but you just, indirectly tell them your situation and they would understand. If you will notice that those children that are very noisy in the class, you find they will just become very calm because they know that my teacher is not in a very good condition today. We have to take care of her. So I think it's a two-way thing. It comes from the home and at the same time comes from the school. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful, ma'am. So I think since children are more affected in the environment at home and that impacts their behavior in the classrooms also. So how is the environment at home in perpendicular with the behavior of the children in the class? Do you think it actually plays a role in these two things and how?
It does. It does. It affects the children very well because especially when maybe a child witnesses the parents fighting or shouting at each other, of course, that child is already will be emotionally down all through the day. There are, sometimes we take children as, oh, they don't even know what is happening. They know a lot. They see more than we think. They see more than we can imagine. Sometimes you find out a child sitting in one corner, ask that child a question, what happened? Why are you this quiet? You'll be shocked at what this child will tell you. They see everything, they hear everything, but most times they pretend, they keep quiet because they feel that nobody will believe them. So when there is crisis at home, it affects the students' academic performance. It does. So what are we supposed to do as parents? As parents, we need to hide a lot of them. Our emotions should be unchecked. We should know the kind of information we release in front of our children. Because sometimes that information, those things that they hear, those things that they see, can ruin their life without you knowing. A child that sees the parents hitting the mother, maybe a father hitting the mother, or a father shouting at the mother, that child might not say anything, but it becomes a stigma. That child will carry that thing along with him or her for the rest of the day. And if not properly handled, it becomes part of this child. And child grows up with this and sees it as a normal thing, a routine. Or what if the child goes to school and decides to, hit a female classmate because he saw the father hitting the mother? So it plays how will I put it? I'll say it is a very bad thing to show those negative aspects of family in front of children because they see, they look, they hear, and they learn more than we expect. They learn more than we expect. And there is no how, there's no how a child will have that kind of trauma at home and be comfortable. No, you'll find out that the child's mind will keep moving, thinking, going over and over, trying to. The child is in between. There's this thin line that the child is trying to cross. He's trying to find out what actually happened. Why did they shout at each other? Why is this like this? Is this the normal way to behave? Is this how my mother and my father should be behaving? Is this happen? Is this particular incident? Does it happen in other families as well? You see, many questions children ask themselves, many unanswered questions. And if peradventure nobody came to the rescue of that child's academic is ruined, because you cannot, it's just like saying serving two masters at the same time. You cannot. And in their tender mind, with their tender mind, the little knowledge they have is already occupied. The brain is already occupied with irrelevant things, covering where the academics is supposed to stay. So that is it. It affects a lot. Family crisis affects children's academic a lot. And sometimes even minor arguments, children might take it as a very big argument if not explained to. If you don't explain to him, oh, don't worry, please forget about what we just saw, we're just joking. Even when you're not joking, tell them it's a joke. They won't carry it to school. So that is it. I don't know if that answered your question.
Wonderful, wonderful, excellent, and a well narrated explanation over this. So, ma'am, I will be asking you some one-liners, and as per those one-liners, you have to just tell me how these can be involved in the interpersonal relationships. So, for example, if I say family relationships are the first interpersonal bonds, so how are they? So, you have to explain to me in that two, three liners.
I didn't get. Please, can you repeat the question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'll explain to you. Yeah. So, interpersonal relationships and families are important for personal and professional growth and well being. They can provide companionship, emotional support, and a sense of belonging. So, the first point is family relationships are the first interpersonal bonds. How can these be explained? How can this line be explained from an early
Interpersonal
childhood,
bond.
from the early childhood perspective?
Okay. What if I understood your question? You said, what does interpersonal bond mean? Is that what you're trying to? Is that what you want me to explain? Okay, interpersonal bond. That is that relationship. I see it as the relationship between parents and children when it comes to family, and that relationship between teacher and students. That is what we call this interpersonal bond. The bond where they can share their emotions, they can share their feelings, they can share even their sad moments. Whatever it is, they share it. That is what we call the interpersonal bond. They bond in a way that, okay, let me put it in, in
Your internet is freezed, ma'am. You're freezed.
in there is a special bonding with the student. Okay, so
okay. So I was explaining a scenario whereby the students, I had a child, I had this particular child that believed so much in me. once I come to school, she already knows how I'm feeling. She knows when I'm happy. She knows when I'm sad. She knows if I'm happy, if I'm ready to do anything in the class. So she became my personal assistant even without nominating her. You understand? So we now had this bond that the parents of this child began to call me her mother. You say, your daughter said, your daughter said, your daughter said, your daughter said. So this bond became very strong that, in fact, they handed over the child to me. They now see the child as my own daughter. They report things to me. For instance, when something happens or when she does something at home that the parents are not comfortable with, they call me on phone. Oh, this is what your daughter did, and I'm not happy about it. She'll be shouting at me as if it is my own daughter. I was okay, don't worry, don't worry. When she comes to school, I'm going to handle it. And when she comes to school, I eventually handles it and everything becomes okay. So there is this kind of bond, and this bond does not just start. You have to build it. Interpersonal relationship between parents and children and their teachers are built. It's not something that it's not something that just come up like that. No, it's a bridge that you need to, bridge, then climb gradually until you get to the climax. And once you get to the climax, there is nothing that will break that bond because the bond has come to stand.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I mean, the way you spoke, it is actually a fact that children are absorbers. Children absorb whatever the situation is, whatever the environment is, and the ambience too gets reflected whether in the classroom or whether at home. So the second one is family communication in an interpersonal process. How family communication is an interpersonal process. How this can be elaborated.
Okay. Family communication. You see, communication. In every relationship, communication matters. You see, communication is very important. It is the most vital part of relationship. Because if I don't tell you what is in my mind, you cannot find out. If I don't share what I know, there is no how you will know. So this communication is how the definition already tells it. The interaction between two people, trying to exchange ideas, trying to exchange their views. That is what it is, communication. So communication plays a vital role in interpersonal relationship in the sense that it tells you when someone is happy, when someone is sad. Some people can hide their emotions from you see someone very sad, but the person puts up a smiling face because the person is trying to hide their feelings. But when there is constant communication between mother and child, father and child, teacher and student, there is peace. There is mutual understanding. You understand each other. So communication is the key to any relationship because I won't be able to identify what I don't know. Yes, if you don't tell me, I won't know. Only if I'm a reader, if I'm a spiritual reader, which is not, we don't bring that up in relationship. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. The third one is family conflict is an interpersonal conflict. How conflicts create, how conflict impacts the mental health of the child and the environment at home. Whether even in the school also, when situations are not favorable or sometimes some unexpected incidents happen in the class or in the school, so children observe each and everything. So the conflict environment, whether in the class, between the colleagues, between the teachers, how these create a kind of discrepancy in the learning environment.
Conflict. Conflict at home breaks down the child. It breaks down the child's emotion. Sometimes we say, children, they don't understand, they won't understand. When there is crisis, do you know we can even lose those children? We can lose them. And if it's a child that has maybe bad influence, this child is gone, because the child will start doing things in order to please his or her emotions, in order to please himself. When there is crisis, child is not at peace. Child will not in fact, there is nothing you will tell a child when the child knows that there is no peace that the child will take.
Yes.
And if that continues, the child thinks that it is a normal thing. It's a normal routine to be aggressive. It's a normal thing. Crisis is a normal thing. Even whenever it happens, we can just take it anyhow. And this child becomes a nuisance to the society. Whatever you tell, whenever the child hears anything positive, the child says no. It must be the other way around, because it has been planted in him or her that this is the way of life. Okay, how does it affect the academics? It affects them because it brings them down drastically. A child that is an A child becomes a D child or F because of this crisis. When there is always crisis in school or in the classroom, this class is always disorganized. So I won't even say there is anything like there is no learning. Nothing can happen, because I'll just say the teacher is just telling a story. The teacher becomes a storyteller, and the child is just sitting down there listening but not absorbing. The child is not absorbing anything, he's just listening out, as in absent-minded but bodily present. Sometimes we say that children's minds travel. It travels a lot. It travels a lot. Sometimes even if you've resolved the physical crisis and you don't go deep in trying to resolve it, there is this inner crisis that keeps disturbing those children, because they've witnessed crisis in the past. It doesn't just go easily. They're not like adults that maybe it's okay, let me just forget. Of course, children forget things easily. You say, okay, you just hurt a child, the child just forgives you and forgets it. But if it's something that is constant and is registered in a child's memory, it can hardly be erased. You can't erase it. And that becomes a normal routine. That becomes the norm for that child. Bring positive things, the child still thinks about crisis. You give the child pen in a kind way, the child sees it as an abnormal way. Please throw it at me. Because the child's mind has already accepted that way of life. He wants everything in an aggressive way, everything. You cannot even talk to the child in a mild way. You have to scream for the child to even listen to you. That's the kind of children that when a teacher you have to scream out your voice, you have to shout, you have to scold before the child listens to you. Because one of my I told one of the teachers that if a child in this kind of crisis or conflict situation, you shout at the child once and the child does not listen, shout the second time, shout the third time, shout the fourth time. Keep shouting until the time comes for the child to listen. Because it's probably the number of times you need to, caution that child hasn't reached. Keep cautioning that child. Because if you say, oh, this child is just too loose, this child is this, and you give up on that child, you have lost that child forever. So we keep tackling it, we keep calling back, we keep shouting at them if need be, we keep coddling if need be. Because you as teachers, you think of ways to, bring that child closer. As parents, you also look for ways to bring that child closer. If you notice that shouting and scolding cannot bring that child back to you, why not try bringing that child to yourself? Pampering. Look for other means. Maybe that child needs that love. It needs the love that he lacks because the child has seen crisis and is used to crisis. Show that child another aspect of life that he has not seen, and you'll see that he is going to change his mentality entirely. Thank you.
Exactly. And I think conflict word is itself a very when you actually listen to the word, it's little bit a kind of doubt provoking word. But I think sometimes conflicts are healthy also. It clears the barriers, it cleans the whole misunderstandings and kind of an environment it creates that children learn to accept that this is also necessary. Do you think that?
Yeah, in life, crisis is inevitable. So the earlier the child learns that in life you must meet crisis, you in one way or the other you must come across something that will hurt you, something that is not
Exactly.
accepted by you. So the moment you accept it and know that is a way of life
Yes.
and look for ways to tackle it, the earlier for them, the better for them. So it's also good to, once in a while they receive it, yes, because it's life. As long as you are living, you will experience it. So if they experience it earlier enough in life, the only thing we need to do is to tell them that, oh, this has happened. We need to look for solution. So in any way that you find your child finds him or or herself, he should do what? Know that whenever I meet crisis in life, the next target is search for solution. Search for the answers. Search for how to come out from that crisis. Don't just wait for mommy and daddy to come and bring you out of that crisis. So it is very important in life to meet crisis once in a while, but it shouldn't be a routine. It shouldn't be a normal ritual that every time the child is experiencing this, experiencing that. No, once in a while is good for them to learn a lesson and know that that is what happens in life. And you have to be a man, you have to grow and stand in order to stand in life. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. The fourth one is, do you think family therapy can help strengthen emotional bonds? And if yes, why? And is it necessary? Do you think that?
Family therapy.
Yeah. In
Yes,
what
is
cases
very
and in what kind of situations is it most required? Because every now and then, I think if a child is facing a problem, whether it's a special learner or a normal family, the first thing that the school advises them and the first thing that the class teacher or whatever the teacher is advises them to go for a family counseling or a counseling, and it has become a very frequent thing often now. So do you think it is actually necessary, or it does it impact the brain of the child?
well. Therapy is necessary in some situation when you notice that something is getting out of hand, and that because um there is a way students sees therapy. If they hear therapy, those what is wrong with me? Why should you take me for a therapy? What am I mentally unstable? Am I that? So it shouldn't be a constant thing.
Yes.
It shouldn't be a constant thing. And if necessary, if possible, we can avoid it. If it's possible, is avoidable. Because there is the fact that therapy is important. At the same time, there's this kind of negative message or signal it sends to them. That means I am not normal. For me to go for it. And then we also need to let them know that therapy is not a bad thing, because I've witnessed a situation whereby a child, oh, not a child, is an adult. I'll call him a young adult, was asked to see a doctor for maybe he has to undergo a 1 week therapy on his emotional check because he's always shouting and all that. They need to find out what is actually wrong with that child. And the moment that child hears that, he felt really bad. He said, wow, me? Therapy? Does it mean I'm mad? Am I mentally mad? Am I sick? What is wrong with me? No, I don't want to. So we need to also let them know what therapy is. They need to understand what it is. Because some people don't even know what it is, but you just tell them therapy, therapy. And they see it as something that is meant for maybe mentally unstable people, people that are emotionally down. Therapy can be for anybody. It can be for anybody. Maybe I can decide to go for a therapy, maybe because I'm about to start a new job. I can do that. I can say, okay, let me just visit a psychologist or visit someone that would advise me. The person will ask you questions about your old job and try to find out what is this new job about. So we should say therapy in a positive way, not just when someone is sick. So if that is understood, if people understand that therapy is not only when someone is mentally sick or when someone is psychologically down, that you see a doctor, you can also see a doctor for an advice. You can also see a doctor for something, so for other things. So with this, children will know that okay, therapy is not something really bad. It's something that you can also go to, but at the same time, I don't encourage it often because it sends a bad signal always to the child. Yeah, it
Exactly,
sends a bad.
exactly. Well said, well said. So the fifth one is about the word acceptance, which I think is a rare word used nowadays. Acceptance can benefit interpersonal relationships. How and in what ways?
Accepting a child or accepting people around you just the way you see them, the way they are. Not minding, okay, this person is not from maybe it's not my biological child as a teacher this time around, or this child is not doing well, this child is that, or this child is ugly. Accept each person the way they are and make them know that they are unique in their own form. This child is not too intelligent and B is intelligent. Yes, accept A the way he is. And make sure you introduce that to the students as well, because if students accept each other, the better for the teacher. If siblings accept each other, the better for the parents. So this acceptance builds the bond because you've accepted someone, you've accepted their behavior, you've accepted their looks, you've accepted the way they talk, you've accepted their mental ability. In fact, they will be happy and you will also be happy. Of course, if you think you can make me sad and at the same time be happy, it's not possible. You can, of course, if two people are in the same house and the other person feels, okay, I don't like you, go your own way. The moment you do that, you are hurting yourself at the same time. Because if that person is sad, you are also sad. Even though you pretend to be okay because you feel you can do without the person, you cannot actually do without that person. So the moment we accept one another the way we are, the better for us and the happier we are. That is it.
Acceptance is a very, very core requisite now, which is needed, which people are not able to accept, whether it's a special child, whether it's a kind of a characteristic trait of a person. So the last one is building trust and rapport. How these create healthy relationships and how they affect the interpersonal relationships, whether in workplace environment, school environment, and at home.
Building trust. Once I have trust in you, I can tell you anything and I can do anything for you. So the moment I would say that apart from communication, trust is the next. Because if we can communicate effectively and we trust each other, that family bond will be there. That bond between the teacher and the student will be there. The bond between students will be there as long as there is trust. And how can we build that trust? Being transparent. Because you can't hide, if you hide something very, very nice from me, as a, okay, in a family, let's use it, a family, you are hiding things from your child, you are hiding things from your siblings, and they eventually finds out. That is the end of that relationship. The same thing goes to in school. If you hide anything, if you're not transparent, if you are not, will I say, make everything clear and visible for everybody to see, that trust will not be there, because there will be a kind of, I don't know what he is doing. I don't know what she is doing. What is happening? You've breached that barrier. In fact, you've created a barrier. Yes, you've created a barrier. And for you to breach that barrier, you have to regain that trust. And how can you regain the trust? Communication. True communication and true transparency. You have to be transparent to each other, and you have to communicate your feelings effectively without barrier, without bias. And with that, you build a strong bond.
Well said. Exactly well said. So the second round is about you, and over to you. Some questions for you. So the first one is, how do you empower yourself and the women around you? Since Metkoto is about women, empowering women, moms as first teachers of the children, and all about anything about women. So this question is for you. How do you empower yourself and the women around you?
Okay, that's a very nice question. You know, in this era and time, we're always talking about women supporting women. And how can you support others when you cannot support yourself? So you start by building yourself. Build yourself up. For myself, for instance, I've built myself in a way that I can stand as a woman without waiting for anybody to tell me this is this is that, because I have searched for that knowledge, I have gained that knowledge, and I am standing as a person, and I can stand anything. And because I know, I've learned, I've searched, and I've found, I try to draw other women closer to me, to enlighten them on the importance of learning who you are. The moment we know who we are as a woman, that moment we can do anything, we can break any barrier. Learning about yourself. I've learned to be me. I've learned about myself. I know my lapses. I know my, in fact, all the things, all the negative things, aspect of me, I know. Because I've gone out to search, what are those aspects that affect women? Because when you just sit down on your own, you cannot just get that knowledge. I've gone out, I've researched, I've met with people who have taught me. I try to be open to people that I feel I can learn from. Nobody is an island. I am not an island. So I try to meet up with people. I try to associate with people. I try to share my feelings. And sometimes I try not to be overwhelmed by my emotions, because sometimes our emotions can really bring us down. And the moment I got all these things, I decided to empower women around me, especially my colleagues. I let them know that, see, you cannot just stand by just waiting for destiny to, no. You have to search for it. You have to find it. For us to
Exactly.
become yes, to become what you want to become in life, you don't just sit down, fold your hands, and wait for it to come to you. You have to fight for it. And in the process, there will be criticism, there will be hatred, there will be people will even laugh at you in the process. But what did I learn in this in all these challenges? To be myself.
Perfect.
Whoever is laughing at me doesn't know me, and you can never be me. I am Gloria, and that person cannot be Gloria. You can't be me. So I let women around me to understand that they are who they want to become. So
Wonderful.
I am, yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you. I think
So
I think that
how do you actively communicate with women at your workplace to make them feel included?
okay, by organizing constant workshops, because we do organize workshops often. We do through my organization, I organize intellectual exchanges. Okay, although recently I started men started requesting for an intellectual exchange, but initially I started with women. This is where we share ideas, we learn from each other. How I started this was I started engaging with women, asking them questions that has to do with SDG 5, which is gender equality. So I empower them, I let them know what they're lacking and how they can overcome all their challenges as women. So I support them through monthly and weekly workshops and individually, because some of them can come to me and maybe call me on phone or chat me up. This is what I'm passing through. What do I do? What do I do? And we sit down, maybe on Zoom call or even on chat. We sort it out and everybody is happy. Because when people around you are happy, you're happy as well.
Perfect. Perfect. And the last question to you is, how do you tackle your challenges from a position of strength?
Pardon?
How do you tackle your challenges from a position of strength?
Okay, yes. How do I tackle my challenges? Okay, I would say that when it comes to strength and position and challenges, I would say that when challenges come, I don't think you will not remember your strength. Yes. But sometimes we have this inner push and inner strength within us that helps us. So I think it's that inner push and inner strength that keeps me moving. So I tackle challenges by thinking deeply about what the challenges is all about. What caused the problem? Because if you have a challenge and maybe you just wave it aside, okay, I'm strong because you have that physical strength, you that challenge will still resurface. So the best thing is to tackle that challenge from the roots. Try to find out the root of that challenge. Tackle it. And the moment you tackle that challenge from the root, it will not resurface. It will not come back in. But if you say, okay, I have that physical strength, no physical strength without getting to the root of it can solve any challenge. So that's my belief in that.
Perfect, perfect. So I think it was a overall very fruitful and an eye-opener session in view of perspective of how interpersonal relationships affect the education also. So it's not only education related to academically, but these factors also do play a role in creating a safe haven for a child, not only emotionally but also psychologically. Because psychology, if the child is happy, it definitely creates a benchmark for his success in academics also. So
Yeah.
both these factors play a very crucial role. Being an educator, being a mother, being a perfect human being, and let the child see as you are. So this is the way how interpersonal relationships play a very important role in our lives. And create a better human being from all the children around the globe and all the children that are connected with us in the education. So it was a wonderful session hearing you and exciting, insightful takeaways for all over here. I think as women change makers, we need to highlight these issues openly and bring a change not only in education but in the perspectives of every woman around us. So overall takeaway from this session is I think interpersonal relationships in the family also are important for many reasons. Number one is emotional support, mental health, personal growth, social support, sense of purpose, communication, conflict resolution, non-verbal resolution, communication, and patience. And last but not the least is teamwork. Everything revolves around teamwork. Without teamwork, a unit cannot function. Without teamwork, a school cannot function. So, in order to create a better human being, it's all about team building strategies, teamwork, and creating a safe team environment where children know that this is the place we belong to and this is the place we are going to come out and use in the life also. So thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful session, wonderful takeaway from every one of us. And I will be sharing the YouTube link on the Facebook also, and do share with others so that they can gain some insight into this. So it was a pleasure having you, and I invite each and every woman across the globe to be a part of Metkoto, be change makers over here to create change in the education, in family life, and in creating healthy environments in the family also. So thank you so much, ma'am, for being a part of this. And it was a pleasure having you, hearing you, and definitely
Thank you
looking
very much.
forward to one more session with you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.